Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Movies Worth Seeing. I'm Michael Piscineri, and Addy has suddenly become Asian.
Funny how that goes. Yeah, I've been Addy this whole time.
It was all a dream.
It's always been Addy. My name's actually Addy, and I changed ethnicities, and only until in the last 2 episodes did I change back to my real skin. Yeah, and my hair, and accent, and voice, and everything, and my height, and my clothing, and my personality.
There never was Tyler Durden. You always were Tyler Durden.
Sure, I wish I understood the reference.
You never seen Fight Club?
No, I actually haven't.
All right. Anyway, Jesus, man, what a bombshell. You know what's interesting, actually? When I looked up on Rotten Tomatoes the best movies of 2023, all 100 of them I hadn't seen. The only one I saw was Barbie, which I don't know how that made it to the top 100.
Did Across the Spider-Verse and Mario movie make that list that you were looking up?
No. The Mario movie did not make that list because it was based
on
on critic reviews, not audiences. So of course Mario couldn't be on there. It was too mainstream. Instead, they had to put some French film. We are going to be talking about the best movies of 2023, which was really hard this year because every time I thought of a movie and wrote it down in my notes, Martin reminded me that the movie came out last year. So I put Avatar 2, I put like pages of notes on Avatar 2, and then he was like, you know that came out in 2022, right?
It's like, we did a goddamn review of it, don't you remember? With me, Luke Ages, yourself, December, man. Come on.
I couldn't remember it.
It felt like a 2023 movie for you.
It did, because it was so like right at the end of the year. But that happened twice. There was another film that I don't care. I'm going to bring it up anyway because it was such a good film. Let's give some praise.
Well, whilst you're at it, then you might as well
films.
bring up Citizen Kane, then, because that also was a great movie.
Oh,
you might as well bring that up.
I've also got Terminator 2, The Godfather.
Yeah, because they're all good movies. Let's group them into 2023 just to wash the year of release. Hollywood just needs a clean slate and just like wash away the sins of our forefathers.
We need a
just come up
tsunami
with
to just
blank
and come and destroy all the garbage.
Okay, we promised before the cameras were rolling that we would make this all positive, that for every positive, we wouldn't relate it to a negative event in 2023. And so far, how are we doing on that score? But we will endeavor to bring positivity into this episode.
If you want to bring positivity back in to this discussion, then let's start with Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1.
I was going to say Sound of Freedom, but because that's such a positive film.
Oh, God. When you say I'm dark, man. Whew. Anyway, let's get to Mission Impossible first. I loved Mission Impossible. While it's not the strongest in the franchise, it was a fun experience. The real unique thing for me is that I watched it in Italy, and a lot of it was filmed in Italy. Like, we did the Roman Colosseum like 3 days before I saw the movie and was like, wow, it's all right there. And then there's the Spanish Steps. That was in the car chase. The cars literally go down the Spanish Steps. And I was like, we were just there today.
But apparently it didn't do the numbers. Yes, I've always got to bring in the whole like glass half empty aspect into it. But apparently because of the whole competing with Oppenheimer for IMAX screenings, it had a limited IMAX screening, which meant that they couldn't rake in as much box office numbers as Tom Cruise would have wanted. So initially he was a bit pissed off about that, but then he was okay with it afterwards. I think especially when coasting along with the momentum of Top Gun Maverick, that he really wanted like 2 back-to-back like big hitters. That's under the Tom Cruise moniker, But
don't they look at the release date schedule and
that's
go...
also true.
Like, because outside of Barbenheimer, there wasn't any like major big releases that could steal the spotlight.
True. I'm sure if it was released some other time, it would have made the big numbers like the previous
now
Mission
would have been
did.
an awesome time to release it because there is nothing to watch. I'm not watching Aquaman 2. I think they already had it on the shelf for a while because of COVID.
What was the rush? What was the rush?
I don't know.
They didn't have to. And if they waited so long because of COVID, they could afford to wait a few more months, couldn't they?
Yeah, man. Like, it's funny that you had this fun action film going up against a movie about dolls and a movie about a nuclear bomb, and somehow it got annihilated. And it was such a breath of fresh air watching it too.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, because it was just a simple, like there was no politics. It was just straightforward, fun action. There were some one-liners in there. You know, at times it took itself a little too seriously with its plot. I mean, it felt quite relevant given the current climate with AI and ChatGPT. And I mean, right now we look at it and we're like, oh, people just use it for speeches and shit. Like, I've been to like 2 or 3 weddings where a guy has said, I promise I didn't use ChatGPT for this wedding speech. Dear all human Homo sapiens. Pause for laughter. So there will be a point where AI will destroy us and not just be helping us get through public speaking events. And Mission Impossible touched on that. And I thought it was really cool.
But before we beat a dead horse...
Now the next 2 movies I've got here are both 2022 movies, so I'll just skip that. Oh, John Wick 4. John Wick 4 is definitely. John Wick 4 feels like Indiana Jones 3. It's just the perfect ending.
Let's bookend it, you know?
You're just happy with that. And like, no
sequel baiting?
No post-credits bullshit.
Well, that's good.
Just like, nah, that's it.
John Wick will return.
And it just felt, John Wick will return in Live and Let Die or 007 Spectre. It's similar to Mission Impossible in that, like, you're traveling the world, going to all these different exotic locations.
Always, you can't go wrong with like a globe-trotting adventure movie, right?
Yeah. There's like an authenticity to the way that Keanu Reeves performs in those movies. Similar to Tom Cruise, like, you know that he's very invested in the role as far as the stunt choreography, the fighting, the shooting, the way he's reloading, the way he holds weapons and stuff like that. You know that he's done proper training and he's not some actor that's just rocked up and is like, I'm going to hold my pistol like this because it looks cool.
You see that in the movies?
It got to a point where I was like, wow, like I am just not getting tired of seeing John Wick kill people. For example, there's a fight scene that happens on a like this long staircase. Just the way they incorporate the stairs into the fight sequences. It's just like simple things that they do, but that throw it into a whole different direction.
Well, I also like, you know, I've seen this scene where they have the top-down camera to really emulate that Hotline Miami look, where he was shooting those incendiary ammos and you could see all the individual rooms. So that's like kind of blending video game aspect into the cinematography.
Yes, I totally forgot about that.
So you appreciate it. That's 4 movies in, they still could find original ways to capture this. And the long takes, there's no cutting. It's just all in one take, that sort of thing.
That was
4 movies in, they're still able to do that.
That's what I thought.
That's
because
good.
when I originally went into that movie, I went in with no expectations. I was watching it on the plane trip to Italy. And I was like, it's going to be the same tired stuff. I was like, I feel like the 3rd movie could have been the ending.
It earned its place. It earned it. Okay, good. Okay.
It felt justified. Honorable mention to Mario Brothers just because it was fun.
Yeah, that's my
colourful.
top movie.
I don't give a shit if it makes me sound like such a teenage boy. I'm like, the bright colors were awesome. But fuck it. It was good to see an animated movie that wasn't made by Disney.
My glass half empty take on that. Yes, it's my top movie of 2023. It's like this and Across the Spider-Verse. But like we were discussing in our spoiler review of the Mario Brothers movie, is that just a few tweaks to like the dialogues could elevate the movie from just passable to a movie that actually had something to say, that actually had a message that it wanted to convey, with something that's universal and people could get behind.
Yeah,
just some positive message. It's too safe for my liking now that I've watched it, you know. So, but I understood why it had to be safe. Maybe not push the boundaries too much for the first outing, and so after so many decades.
You gotta warm into it, man. We had Mario just hijacking cars on Rainbow Road and taking people out like he's John Wick. Like, that's always going to be awesome, even if the story's non-existent. And you got Jack Black. So, I'll admit it. Mario Brothers is in one of my best movies of the year.
And then my other honorable mention is like Across the Spider-Verse. Again, my glass half empty perspective on that is.
How did I forget that?
My glass half empty perspective on that movie is after hearing all the like poor working conditions, that I hope they take their time with the 3rd movie. And again, even though it is quite phenomenal of a movie, it's still feeding into the multiversal burnouts that the general audience is feeling right now. Because remember, it's not just Marvel fans that are making Marvel money. It's also just the average consumer that's not totally bought into the whole premise of multiversalness. Because when everything is multiversal, things feel inconsequential. Why should I empathize with this variant of Miles Morales when literal infinite number of other Peter Parkers and Miles Morales, some have better outcomes in their life than others? Why should I care about this one version?
Yeah, I think they use that to their advantage to be like, yes, there is still massive consequences despite all the different multiverses. That was the thing that was bringing me through it all.
Yeah.
Is that you had Miles still making this massive choice.
Now that brings me to my glass half full perspective on it, which was they actually found a clever way to incorporate the whole multiversal narrative into, like, that make it central to the lesson that Miles had to learn, which was that and it all stems from that one conversation he had with his mom about just like sort of being above the fray, like against all odds, like with everyone doubting you, like they've made a whole room full of Spider-Men and Spider-Women realize the errors of their ways, that they had compromised their ideal. What's wrong is that you know something bad's about to happen and you choose to do nothing. That's the real reason why you allow evil to perpetuate. It's the whole reason why Uncle Ben died, is because he saw the would-be killer, like run past him, like in the Tobey Maguire movie.
Yeah,
and in that moment, he chose to not do it, and then he paid the consequence for it.
Yeah, Across the Spider-Verse has just a huge moral dilemma that engages people. There were so many great moments, there were meta moments, there were meme references.
Oh yeah.
There was a good villain that like you could understand his point of view and the struggle for individuality. Like you could feel it, you could sympathize with it. And also the cliffhanger.
Yeah, the cliffhanger. But I will say again, I have to go glass half empty. That ending scene where Gwen recruits the original cast from the first movie, that was like a very last minute addition. And if you know animation, you can't just add in shots, that takes months of prep work and shot listing.
It would have been pretty funny if
it's meant to come out in
if
like
that scene
was
months. Like really badly animated, like just paper and black and white, just drawings.
I wonder if when they have those glitch effects, that's their way of like hiding poor animations, or if they say that these poor like pen sketches are actually part of the aesthetic, but actually it was just from us being overworked. We didn't have time to finish that render, and we're just gonna say it's part of the Spider-Verse filter.
It's like
taking a life of its own.
Itchy and Scratchy and Poochie from The Simpsons. Find that clip to add to this.
Poochie? I hadn't heard of Poochie. I just know the theme.
Oh my god,
the Itchy
it's
and Scratchy
funniest.
show.
I certainly do. I have to go now. My planet needs me.
Hey, that wasn't supposed to happen.
That would be funny if that happened in Across the Spider-Verse. All right, guys.
So to conclude, yours was Mission Impossible: Dead Reckoning Part 1, John Wick 4,
and Mario Brothers.
Mario Brothers, and then for me is Mario Brothers, and then Across the Spider-Verse is pretty close second, coming from Sony of all places.
What do you mean? Sony did Morbius.
Oh yeah, that was one of the movies of all time. We all loved the hell out of that.
And,
so much so I never watched it.
We've got Madam Web coming up.
Yeah, try to get through the trailer without cringing at that one line. They said it with a straight face. Oh my
God!
God,
Are you thinking of the one where she's like, "Oh, my father researched spiders before he died"?
Yes, that one. Holy crap! They said that with a freaking straight face, like as if it was a serious. That's a line that someone wrote. That is a line someone wrote.
Not necessarily. Maybe ChatGPT wrote it.
Yeah, it almost sounds robotic in terms of just.
It doesn't help that the actor delivering the line sounds like a robot.
Wow.
All right, guys. Well, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, share, and subscribe.
I mean, yeah, this way, because it's a positive episode. Yeah.